good afternoon. I'm John Smith. I was referred here by my son's school counselor.
Hi, Mr. Smith. My name is Dr. Cook. Do you mind if I call you John?
That's fine, John.
Okay,
is fine.
awesome. John, I am one of the social workers here at North Texas Counseling Center for Youth. The first thing I wanted to do, I know that I talked to the school counselor a little bit, and so I'm up to speed on some of the stuff that's going on with your son. But the first thing I want to do is I wanted to discuss the services that we offer, make sure it's going to be a good fit for you. We're going to discuss some other things, some confidentiality things and things like that. First of all, the services that we offer are for youth counseling and advocacy. And it's a $25 an hour charge. We have a $25 cancellation appointment. So if you schedule an appointment and you need to cancel, just make sure that you give at least 24-hour notice or they will charge you the $25. Do you have access to a phone?
Oh, yes, I have a cell phone.
Okay, good. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is, well, I want to tell you how glad I am that you came and brought your son. It's David, right?
Yes, David Smith.
David with you. I think that we'll be able to be helpful. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was our confidentiality policy. Everything that I talk to David about will be confidential. I will be taking notes, and I'll discuss this with him as well. If there's anything that he does not want me to include in the notes, I will delete that from my notes or just purposely not jot that down. If there's anything that he mentions about self-harm or harming someone else, obviously that's something that I would have to report by law to authorities.
Okay.
And as far as me discussing with you anything that he talks to me about, I won't be able to do that again unless it entails self-harm or harming someone else.
I understand.
Of course, if a court order came in and ordered his records, I would have to turn those over. But those are the only scenarios where confidentiality would have to be broken. So I talked to the school counselor for a little bit. I have some understanding of what's going on. So what do you hope to gain from David talking to me and working with me?
Well, he just seemed a little more on edge, so I'm hoping that he can, talk to someone and kind of calm himself. Obviously, talking to me as his father, it kind of stresses it a little more out because he wants to, make sure that I'm happy or that, I'm not disappointed in what happens with the outcome.
Okay, and with the outcome, are you referring to the...
He was accepted to Princeton, but
okay.
In order for him to get the full ride, he has to go through a scholarship day, so we have to go to an interview, and it's going to be a group interview and then a one-on-one interview with a counselor there. So he's been kind of nervous about, the questions and if he says the right thing or if he says the wrong thing. And because he really wants to, he's wanted to go to Princeton since he found out about the school. Mm-hmm. So he's just kind of, lately he's been more disrespectful towards people and kind of more of a loner, sits in his room, kind of, when you try to talk to him about it, he doesn't really want to talk about it because he doesn't want to jinx it.
Okay.
So I can tell that he's put a lot of weight on himself.
So it's mostly self-inflicted.
Yes.
You are probably very proud.
Yes, very, very proud. Princeton's awesome. A very good school, but even if he didn't get the full ride, if partial is still, I would be happy either way. But I feel like he thinks he would let me down if I had to pay for some of the school.
Right. Okay. So that's some of the things that we'll be talking to him about is just kind of processing through some of his emotions and feelings, mm-hmm. and maybe some things that are causing him some anxiety. Also, I probably will try to maybe talk to him about some goals. How far out is the interview? Do you know?
We're about a month out.
Okay.
That's why it's 6 months ago. He wasn't as stressed, but the sooner it got closer, then.
Okay, so I'm probably going to schedule him for 4 visits. We're going to visit once a week with him, mm-hmm. And I'll go over this with him as well. We'll visit 4 times. We'll create a goal and a plan of maybe some strategies or maybe some material that he can read, mm-hmm. Some resume building material and some things that'll be helpful mm-hmm. during that interview, so that maybe if he feels more secure about going into this thing, mm-hmm. maybe some of that anxiety will lessen. So we'll work on that. I'll talk to him and see.
Getting him to open up is harder. I'm a single dad, so it's just me and him.
Okay. So
we really haven't, got the. We communicate, but not, like a mother and son would. We kind of, I'm a man and he's a young man, so him to open up is a little bit harder
Mm-hmm.
for me. And I mean, we're not, we're well off. If he doesn't get the full ride, I can afford to help him pay for school, but he doesn't want to put that on me because I mean, it has just been me and him his whole life. His mom, she left when he was very young.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, am I hearing that there's a strain in your relationship?
I mean, there's not a strain. We have a great relationship. It's just
So it's more his personality type that he's
Yes.
just not as open
with me.
with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, it's just been me and him, so,
Okay.
for him to open, I feel like it's more he just doesn't want to disappoint me, so he keeps a lot of it in.
Okay. And does he have siblings?
No, it's just me and him.
Okay. What about other family members? Is there any other family members,
I mean,
uncles, aunts, grandma, grandpa, anybody that he's close to?
They live in El Paso. They live about 12 hours away.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's part of the big reason is like, they'll say they're coming to visit, but
Right.
he always jokes like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, so.
Okay, so there's some inconsistency
Yeah.
with the family support.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to have him come in, and again, we may or may not pull you in. Depends on
Okay.
how far we get.
For him, if he wants me, that's fine. If he doesn't, I want him comfortable, and I want him to be able to open up to you, maybe, and
Okay.
get
So
to the root of the problem.
tentatively for now, we're going to schedule him for 4 visits. I think your insurance pays for 6.
Okay.
So we'll get about around the 2nd visit, and we'll visit some more and see if that's enough. If it's coming up in a month, that's probably all the time we're going to have.
Yes.
Your insurance pays for 6. We'll schedule for 4, and then we'll just kind of go from there and see how far we get.
All right, that sounds good.
So since David is since he's still underage, I'm going to have you sign the consent form. So basically, all it is saying that you agree to allow us to talk to him, counsel with him, make a plan for him. And it also explains the confidentiality rules that we talked about.
Okay.
It has, let's see, has a $25 an hour charge, and it has a cancellation application fee. And that's just about it. So
Okay.
if you'll just read over that, and if you'll
Okay.
sign it.
All right, sounds good. And will he be signing one as well, or is this?
No,
is this...
he's still a minor,
Okay.
so it's just your signature that
All
we
right.
need.
Well, there you go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, David. Come on in.
Hello.
Have a seat. David, my name is Dr. Cook. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Okay, so I am one of the social workers here at North Texas Counseling Center for Youth. You're actually, I think the way it happened was your dad talked to the school counselor, and then the school counselor referred you over to me. So I'm very glad that you're here. How's it going?
It's pretty good.
Okay, good. So tell me what's going on. Do you
Well,
know why you're here?
I do not. I think my school counselor, I think she overreacted maybe.
Okay, so I think your dad has some concerns about some anxiety that you may or may not be feeling.
And how would my dad know? He's never there. He's always working.
Okay. All right. Well, let's slow down a little bit. Let's talk about some confidentiality first, okay? Before we get into all that, let's just slow down. Okay. So even though I talked to your dad for a little bit, and your dad was the one that signed the consent forms because you're still a minor, there's still what's called confidentiality. Basically, David, what that means is whatever we say to each other in this room stays in this room. Okay, so I won't be turning around and telling your dad what you tell me, or telling your school counselor what you tell me, or anyone else. I will take some notes, and if there's any part of what you tell me that you want me to omit from my notes, I will not put it in my notes. There are a couple of different scenarios where I would have to break that confidentiality, and that would be, number one, like if you told me that you were going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else, well, you would understand that I would have to report that to someone, right, that would happen. Or if I had for instance, a court order that subpoenaed my records, I would also have to turn those over. But in this case, hopefully, it's not anything that involves a court, so I think that there's really not any reason for me to break any confidentiality. If you want to bring your dad in at any time, we can bring him in. If you don't want to bring him in, we don't have to bring him in. This is really something that is it's for you, and so that we can work out, whatever it is that's going on or not going on. Okay, so let's start with some notes I have from the school counselor. She has talked to your dad. She's also talked to you, and she reports that you have some anxiety about an up-and-coming Scholarship Day. I want to say congratulations to that. I guess you're kind of a superstar, huh? Okay, so she reports that you're having some anxiety. Some of your current assignments that you've turned in have had some poor grades, which isn't like you to turn in poor grades, and I guess your dad has reported some acting out. So, tell me why you want to be here. What can I do for you?
Well, I mean, I don't even think I need to be here. My grades, it might not be that they're poor, maybe because I'm in all AP classes and it's just getting harder on later in the year.
Okay.
So I don't think they're poor. And my counselor, she's a high school counselor. I don't think she really understands what's going on.
Okay. Are you feeling anxious about the scholarship day interviews that are coming up?
I mean, I think about it, but I don't think I'm anxious.
Okay. So let's turn this around and let's just make kind of a positive. You're already here. We've scheduled a few appointments, and so I was thinking that we could maybe formulate a plan. Talk about maybe some strategies. Do you have your resume already made for scholarship day? Is that something that they're requiring?
Yeah, I already submitted it online.
Okay. Okay, so what about like the questions that they're going to ask during the interview? Did they supply you with a list of kind of like, example questions of things that they might ask or not?
No, they did last year, but this year they wanted to be harder on us, I think. So they're just going to ask us, I think, standard questions like who inspires you? Why do you want to go to Princeton? Where are you going to be in 10 years? Just things like that.
Right. Okay, and so I heard that you have done some testimonies and some interviews before, so this really wouldn't be anything that's like just a total stranger to you.
I think it's a little bit different because this one is more one-on-one. The other ones I did, it was in front of like a camera, and I really wasn't talking to a person, just alone. So I think it's a little different.
And are you feeling pressured about being accepted? Have you been accepted?
Yeah, everyone has to be accepted to go to scholarship day.
Okay, so you've already been accepted, and so this is just more funding or
It's more scholarship, hopefully a full ride.
Wow. Okay, well that's awesome. So tell me a little bit more. Tell me, you mentioned that your dad's not around. Your counselor's kind of blowing this thing out of proportion.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they understand. My dad didn't even graduate from high school. He's a construction worker, so I don't think he understands how hard it is to graduate from high school and then to go to college.
Okay.
And my counselor, she deals with all types of kids. So I think I'm one of the top kids in my class. So I think she wants more from me, but I think I'm fine.
Okay. So David, it sounds like you've worked really hard for 4+ years.
I think for over 4 years. I think it starts in 5th grade, 6th grade, maybe.
Wow. So you're really focused. That's great. And it sounds like you've worked really hard and you've earned your way to your potential full ride scholarship. So my plan, my job is to help you to kind of lessen the stress so that, once you get to that scholarship day a month from now, 5 weeks from now, you can feel more relaxed. Maybe be yourself during the interviews and feel like confident about what you're gonna say and how you're gonna present yourself. Is that something that your school counselor has been able to help you with?
I mean, not really. She doesn't really even know what scholarship day is, and she hasn't given me too much. She helped me with the initial applying for college, but that's about as far as she got.
Okay, so let me reframe this a little bit for you, and then tell me what you think about being here. Think about it like this. So your dad didn't finish high school. He's done well in construction, but he really doesn't get it. He doesn't get what it is to be where you are. So maybe he's communicating it as you're stressed out and anxious over it, when maybe he's really just wanting you to have some support from someone that he can't supply for you, that he can't help you with. Maybe just talking to me about, maybe what some of the questions might be, or what do you have in mind for the next 10 years. I don't even know what I have in mind for the next 10 years, so I know it would be difficult. I know it would be difficult for a young man to, to be able to process that. But thinking about it like that, reframing it and thinking about it like that, do you feel a little bit differently about being here?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's take one thing at a time. You said you already submitted your resume.
Yes.
Okay. And did you add references to that resume?
I did not add references because they asked us to have 2 letters of recommendations from teachers or someone we've worked with, so I didn't have references on the resume.
Okay, so I don't know about Princeton, but I'll do a little snooping. I'll check it out. I know typically some of the Ivy League schools do require some references. It won't hurt to have references. So that's something that we can put kind of like on a homework list, is how to go about finding good references, or how to solicit references and let people know that that you might use them as a reference or ask their permission to use them as a reference. Another thing that I was thinking about quickly was probably even planning for, something as little as what you're going to wear. You want to be comfortable. You probably are going to have to wear some dressy up clothes, but you want to be comfortable. Is that something that that you normally do, that you seldom do? Are you comfortable like in suit and tie or dress attire?
I mean, I wear a uniform to school, so it's not, I don't think it'd be too much of a difference, but maybe tying my tie, it might take a couple of tries.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I have it down, but it'd be nice to know for sure that I know everything.
Sure, yeah. And is your dad gonna go with you that day to scholarship day?
It depends if he's working or not.
Okay, so you don't have a firm commitment?
I don't.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there friend, family, any type of family support or friend support that can go with you, or that you would like to accompany you to the scholarship day?
To accompany me, I'd just like to have my dad, but if not, then it could just be me. I could always get a ride up there. The transportation isn't a big deal.
Okay, and do you drive?
I do.
Okay, awesome. You have your driver's license?
I do. I do not have my own car.
You do not have your own car yet?
Not yet.
Okay, well, that's a good goal. A nice job and a few paychecks, and you could have yourself a nice transportation. I'm going to try to help you, and I'm going to try to advocate really hard for Dad to be there that day. And I'm sure that if he can, he will be. I know that his work is just, kind of crazy, and seems like he does that a lot. But I'm going to advocate for him to be there. And we're just going to kind of make a note that, I don't know, maybe you can practice once a day to tie your tie from now until then, and you will be an expert at it. So that will lessen your stress that day. It can be a stressful thing to be nervous and not be able to tie your tie that day. Maybe tie it the night before. Like pre-tie, I don't know.
Maybe a clip-on.
Or a clip-on, yeah, those are, fashion. There's no rules in fashion, right? Okay, so we'll talk about that some more, okay? So what are some of the other things? I guess after the second semester, your grades really don't count towards your GPA, right?
They count toward your GPA, but as far as scholarships and getting accepted, they're not going to look at that. But for your final transcript, they're going to count overall. You're going to send your final transcript to the college that you choose, but it's not, the college isn't going to have any say in when they're accepting you or applying for scholarships. They're not going to see your final transcript until you've already been accepted and already received most of your scholarships.
Okay, so I guess the last few assignments that you've turned in a couple of classes have been concerning enough for your teachers to go to the counselor and the counselor to contact your dad. Is it just, could it be a lack of communication? Is it something maybe you just need to explain to your dad that, you've got senior year itis, and you've got thoughts of prom, and you're playing ball, and maybe those last few assignments aren't quite as important as the last 8 years, or you think it's just maybe a little lack of communication, or is it are you feeling that much anxiety over the situation that it's causing you to have a little change in character?
I might be a little anxious, but mostly I think it's that he didn't even finish high school, so he doesn't know how hard it can be.
Right.
And to do all the things I do, he doesn't understand that it's hard to make an A on every assignment or sometimes a B on every assignment, and it's okay to fail a test every once in a while.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that his expectations of you are
more than he had for himself.
Right. But yeah, and his expectations of you are probably at the same height as his pride in you, because I know he's very, very proud of your accomplishment. And even though he didn't accomplish those things for himself, he gleams when he talks about you, David. So, okay. So, how is what if we made a plan? What's your timeline like? Is there a time when maybe you and Dad can meet together somewhere, or carve out, maybe just an hour where you sit together at Jack in the Box and have a burger together once a week, so that you can have some time to just kind of talk about some of this stuff. Maybe lessen his anxiety a little bit, maybe give you an opportunity to express some of the things that you're expressing to me to your dad.
Yeah, I think we can find a time.
You think your timeline, because I know you're a pretty busy guy. I know you're probably playing ball right now. Has baseball started?
It has.
Okay, so and that's pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah, my last year.
Nice. Okay, so we'll try to make a plan then to maybe sit with Dad, have an intentional. I don't want to call it a date night. I know you're probably a little old for that, but an intentional day where you and him can just share a milkshake or share dinner and kind of give you an opportunity to communicate some things to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds good if we had it set.
Okay. Yeah. You're kind of a schedule guy, aren't you? I can tell. Okay. So let's talk about something else. I don't know. Tell me what else. What else is going on? What about prom? You got prom?
Yeah, prom is coming up in 2 months. So I need to pick out what I'm gonna wear and who I'm gonna ask. That's pretty big. I need to do a promposal.
A promposal.
Yeah, that's what they call
so
it.
there's no special girl already, huh?
Not yet.
Okay. That's probably why you've gotten that far. As far as you've come. No distractions. That's great. Okay, David. So we are going to meet 4 times. We're going to meet once a week. This same time, does that work for you? Is this a pretty good time?
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Okay, so we're going to meet 4 times. In those 4 times, we're going to work on some interviewing skills.
Okay.
We're going to work on some nonverbal body language, which I think can be really helpful during those tough interview times. We can work on getting some references added on to your resume that you're going to submit, or I guess you've already pre-submitted.
I have submitted, but I think I could bring a second copy to them.
And I think that would be fine. Normally they would accept that. And can you help me think of anything else that you might be concerned about? Or you know what? Let's do this. If this was an absolute, if you were in a perfect situation where your dad worked 9 to 5 and you guys had this, fantastic relationship, and your mom was in the picture, and grandma and grandpa lived down the street, and you had all these resources to go to if you needed help, or you had questions, or you just needed someone to lean on. Okay, so in that scenario, pretend that that's a real scenario. Tell me some of the things that you would go to them to lean on them, or to ask them, or that you think would be helpful for this particular application, for you going to this big scholarship day.
Well, I think I'd ask them, what college was like and their experience, and how many colleges did they apply to, how many did they get accepted to, did they get denied to any, what it felt like if they did get denied, and the price back then versus now. I want to see it, and like inflation with how much of their annual budget went to college versus now how much goes to college. Because I know like back in like the 80s, like to go to A&M for 4 years it's probably like 20,000, and now you're looking at like 80,000.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if it's just inflation or if it's the price of education has just gone up. So I'd like to know, some basics like that.
Okay.
What else? Did they ever go to a scholarship day, or did they get scholarships, or is there even scholarships available back when they went? Did they have grants, or did they get loans, or how'd they pay for it? And I think that's about it.
Okay, so so this is what I'm going to do then. Okay, I know that there are some. I know there's an upcoming seminar, and it addresses some of these things. I think one of the high schools has a panel of different kids at different levels of university from different universities that take kind of like a question and answer forum. You can ask these questions and they can give you some of their experiences as far as what college days like, as far as what their college experience has been. And I want to say that there's also adults who are on that panel who have been to the same universities as the students who will also answer some questions. So would registering for that seminar be something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, if it was in the time frame before the scholarship day. I don't know if it helped much after my scholarship day.
So let me look into that, and then the next time we meet, we can review those times and those dates. And if you think that that's something that's helpful, then we'll get you get you enrolled and see if that is something that would kind of help out.
Yeah.
We've got some homework to do. We've got some goals and some targets that we're going to work on. You're going to work on some references. I want to say I have your email. Do I have an email address for you?
I think you have my email, and I will give you my number.
Okay.
Or
so
my dad's number.
What I want to do is I want to email over to you some brochure type of documents that have some hints on how to approach people for references or how to ask permission for references. I'll email that to you over this afternoon, so you can be kind of working on that before we meet again, and practice working on those knots.
Oh yeah.
Maybe come in wearing a tie next week, huh?
Oh, I'll think about it. It was nice to meet you.
David, it was great to meet you, and I'll see you next week. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Bye bye.